The next session is again about cloud, but I just discussed the topic with Mr. Rajeev Papneja from ESDS, and I said many topics have already been covered and a lot of theory has already been discussed. Let's come to the point and talk something practical. So he has realigned his presentation to make sure there is very little repetition, and he's going to start from where others have stopped and then take it further to make it more interesting for us. So he's going to talk about intelligent cloud called eNight. Dr. Rajeev, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. We only have 30-minute session here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my watch here so that I don't take extra time. It's a little difficult to cover everything in 30 minutes, but I'll try to make the best possible use of your and my time. In fact, I had written kind of a speech which I can walk through, but I'm so lucky that I didn't start with that because my time was at 11:15, and in that it was written good morning everybody, and it's now afternoon, so I'm happy with that. From morning I have been hearing a lot about cloud, and I'm sure that now everybody knows about cloud, what cloud is. It gives you cost savings, it gives you flexibility. I have not seen any application per se yet. How can our customers really benefit from cloud? We have spoken about private cloud, public cloud. Everybody has somewhere in their mind they have the insecurity that cloud is not secure, but nobody has tried to question it. Are things really secure? So I'm going to take this, and dynamically I've changed my presentation to take you through that area, through that journey. But first thing I'd like to do is introduce our company, ESDS Software Solutions Private Limited. As most of the companies here, they did not need introduction. They are big names like Dell, Wipro, Trend Micro. Our company is a fast-growing technology company based out of Nashik. I handle the operations of ESDS, and I also look after the research. As far as I am concerned, I have spent most of my career in US, mostly on technological projects. I am masters in computer science by profession. I worked for companies like Ernst & Young, Dun & Bradstreet, Pfizer, to name a few. And I did my PhD from US in business administration. I moved back few years back, and now here I am working for ESDS Software Solutions. So let's see a little bit about ESDS. ESDS started in 2005. Our promoter, our MD and CEO, Mr. Piyush Somani, he is based out of Nashik. He was born and brought up there. And what ESDS today is because of his vision, his hard work, and a great team that we have. 7 years of technology, growth in technology. Today we have more than 35,000 clients all across the globe, with more than 30,000 B2B customers in UK. We started with a company of 20 employees in 2005. Today we stand with a strength of 300 plus employees. We started as a tech support company providing support, back-end support to web hosting companies in US and UK. Today we are focusing on 10 different verticals. We are into e-governance. We have done projects for Mahagenco, PCMC. We set up data centers. We have core banking hosting solutions which we have given to many cooperative banks. We are into health and GIS. We have done GIS mapping for Ballarpur and Malegaon. So we are into different verticals right now. We are proud to be one of the SAP hosting providers, certified SAP hosting providers from Germany in India today. Our presence as of today in Pan-India, we have offices in Delhi, Pune, Mumbai, and of course our headquarters in Nashik. We have a data center in UK which hosts more than 6,000 servers as of today. They are in Milton Keynes, Leeds, Maidenhead, Manchester, and in North America we have a company called Bordeaux.com. We have been awarded many awards by State of Maharashtra for a Green IT Infrastructure Award, the Best Entrepreneur Award to Piyush Somani, and we are CRISIL 1A rated. So that's most about what we are today. How we reached here? This is the journey. 2005, we started providing technical support to web hosting companies. 2006, the companies that we were providing support to in UK and US, some of them were going into losses. So the owners wanted to move away from that business. They said, if you can pay us some royalty of 2,000-3,000 pounds a month, you can take over the business and run from India. Anyway, you are providing all the support. All we do is marketing. So we took over everything. In 2007, when the SEO concept had come up and web hosting was at its boom, we turned all these loss-making companies into multi-million profit-making companies. Right now, they are giving more than 8 million pounds a year in UK, and we have around 5 companies in total. In 2008, again, our MD thought he had a vision that now that we are so much into web hosting and providing services to them, why not have our own data center? So in 2008, he took the initiative of building a tier 3 state-of-the-art data center in Nashik. Some of you fine people have definitely visited our data center, I'm sure about it, and they can take pride in boasting about the data center. 2009 was the day in February when we gave India the first fully managed data center, 24/7 support. 2010, we expanded from Nashik to Delhi, Pune and Mumbai. 2011 was a revolutionary period for ESDS, for India and for the world. And I mean it was for the world also. The reason, we gave something to the world which nobody in the cloud computing environment has given till now. And I can challenge Amazon, Rackspace, Joyent, GoGrid, you name it, and nobody has given it till now. What is it? That is what I am going to speak about, the intelligent cloud, which is way beyond cloud. We spoke a lot about cloud, and everybody, I'm damn sure, knows about cloud. So I'm not going to go into cloud. Yes, it will give you flexibility. Yes, it will save your cost. Yes, you have the freedom to scale. All agreed. That is what a cloud is. Scaling. But what is auto scaling? And what is intelligent auto scaling? That's what our product, which is patent pending in India, UK and US, Enlight Cloud is. Developed in Nashik by an R&D team of 40 people, and it has been successfully launched in UK, India and US. What is scaling? So we have been talking about cloud. Yes, it should give scaling. But scaling is again divided into horizontal scaling and vertical scaling. Now, what Amazon is giving is something called horizontal scaling, where what you do is, you have a virtual machine, and for your scaling to take effect, if you want more resources, what they do is, they keep more virtual machines allocated for you based on your needs. So you can tell them, I need extra one virtual machine with 2 GB RAM, so that if I scale, it should take care of it. And they charge you for that virtual machine which has been allocated for you. It has been called allocated. Now the word allocated has been very intelligently used. So today I want everybody to understand that cloud is not about allocation. It is about usage. It is about consumption. And that is the differentiation Enlight is going to bring to the world. Let's see what horizontal scaling is. So there's a user, he has a virtual server. There are more users. So what we do is, we keep more virtual machines, and there's a load balancer. Based on the load, it distributes to the virtual machines. What are the implications? Since I have to keep more virtual servers allocated for you, the cost factor arises, the complexity arises because of virtual scaling. Now you have to move, if you have a database here, you have to move between servers, and for that you require extra skills. What do we propose? We propose Enlight as a virtual scaling platform. What happens in virtual scaling? Your VM, you can make a virtual machine with, let's say, 512 MB of RAM. You start with 2 CPUs. That's a basic if you require. As your need increases, Enlight itself scales. There is an Enlight Intelligent Manager, and this has been totally customized Zen kernel platform. It will automatically scale up till 96 GB of RAM, 48 CPUs, 24 CPUs as the need arises. And it will scale up and down based on the load. There is no human intervention needed whatsoever, neither from ESD's side nor from the customer side. That's the beauty of Enlight. And it all happens on the fly without reboot. Of course, it saves you cost. There's no complexity involved. User doesn't have to come and get more allocation because it will automatically sense the load. It will scale itself. And that's why no extra skills are required. Now let's see the important distinction between paper allocation that I have been hearing from this morning in every cloud presentation. Everybody says you are going to pay for what you use. But is it truly what you use? I have this laptop, this has 2 GB of RAM and maybe 80 GB of hard disk. Am I using 2 GB of RAM right now? Anybody? Am I using? No, right? So everybody agrees to that. But I have paid for 2 GB because the guy has allocated me 2 GB in this computer. And that's what every cloud computing is selling, that you are paying for what you are using. What you are using means what you have asked for. So if you have asked that please allocate 3 GB to me, then you are being billed for that 3 GB. That's not really what cloud is. What cloud is a pay per consumption model. If you are only using half a CPU or half a CPU power out of that 3 CPUs, why do you want to pay for that 3 CPUs? Why not only half? That's real scaling and that's real pay per consumption. That's what Enlight brings you. A typical example, user has some applications, websites. So what they do? They go to some cloud provider. They ask for certain, okay, what I need is, I need this much RAM, I need this much memory, I need this much bandwidth. Fine. The provider will provide all this from the cloud. These are called the resources that are allocated for you because you have asked for it. Okay, great. User is going to pay for all these allocated resources, whether he is using it or he is not using it. It's simply like a dedicated server. Now let's see what Enlight does. Resources being actually used out of the allocated were only maybe 2 GB of RAM and 2 CPUs. But just for your peace of mind, you had kept maybe 5 GB of RAM allocated if a spike comes or whatever happens. That's why people allocate. But what Enlight does, per minute, it does your billing of RAM, CPU and bandwidth per minute. And per minute, it will charge you only for the resources you've actually used. And that's where you save money. And that's what Enlight Cloud is. That's why we call it intelligent cloud. Now user has all the transparency. The portal shows your billing, it shows your RAM, it shows billing according to RAM. So you can check everything, whether it is true, whether it is false. We came up, well in fact every cloud provider now knows about elastic storage. What is elastic storage? You have a virtual server, you need some storage, so you attach a storage to it. You need more storage, you can attach more storage to it. That's what really elastic storage is. Okay? Now you have a virtual server, you want to maybe detach from one server and move the storage to another server. You can do this. That's elastic storage. That's the technology that has come up. We have this. Enlight supports fully attachable and detachable elastic storage without a reboot. Sorry, I'm running a little fast because I want to complete the major points in this time period. Security. Isn't this, everybody had this question today about security in their mind? But nobody tried to question anybody that why do we just keep talking about security? Is it really, I would like to question you this, is your data really secure? Anybody of you, what do you think? Is your data really secure? Do you think cloud is the one making your data insecure? Is this what a feeling is today to the people? How many of you think that the data is really secure if it is not on cloud? Well, I'll give you an analogy right now. I think it's just a sense of security. That's my feeling. That's why I wanted to bring this point up. The reason being, and I'm putting this question in front of all of you, most of you must be having lockers in bank. Do you? Yes? No? Okay. You keep your money in the locker. You keep your gold in the locker, right? What do you think? Is the gold more safe in the locker of bank, or is it more safe in your house, in your possession? What do you think? Locker? Locker? Great. Why? If it is more secure in a bank that is not managed by you, in a locker where the security is not yours, why is the data not secure in a data bank? What is a web hosting data center? It's a data bank, right? That's all it is if you truly see. Why do you think it's not secure? I don't understand the point at all. Sure. Correct? Yes? Agreed. So your point that you put right now is, if your jewelry is stolen, it's okay, right? You can lodge an FIR against the bank, right? Right? Okay. So data is more sensitive than jewelry. Agreed? Okay. Okay. Agreed. Truly agreed. This clearly answers the point, and I'm very glad. I want this to be an open discussion, really, because everybody just has come and given speeches, and then we have 2-3 questions. Let's interact. It's okay. Okay, maybe. Yes. Agreed. True. True. All points taken. All points taken. Then everybody of us today here, sitting here, is using online banking. And that data of online banking is not at our house. It is somewhere in somebody's data center. How do we believe that? What if that data gets stolen? Is that not important? Okay. It is important, right? But then, it took us time to move to that. Nobody just accepted online banking. Right? Agree? It was a fear? The fear is there, right? Okay. So if finally it's just a sense of security, that's all it is. We still use online banking. Everybody of us use online banking here. We use credit cards. Everybody of us use credit cards. Agreed. But have we left using it?
Because of this everyday, now also there are so many attacks. So it doesn't imply that if I am using a technology, more people are using a technology, a popular technology, it doesn't imply that it is a secure technology. What is most required is visibility. Whatever visibility is there in the brick and mortar,
yes,
brought in this virtual world also,
yes,
then confidence level may come up to that level.
Yes, definitely. It will take time. What is needed is visibility. What is needed is transparency. What is needed is a trusted provider. These are the factors that are needed. I completely agree, and I thank you for that. Yeah, please. I didn't hear you clearly. Can you just... I can't hear him clearly.
If a physical material is lost, there is enough evidence to tell the legal authority saying that chori hua.
Right.
Whereas if it is a data loss, I cannot prove that there has been a data loss.
Completely.
Normally the police can say that you have done something and not be a complaint.
Completely agreed. The point I want to make is still all of us have Hotmail accounts, still all of us have Gmail accounts, still all of us have Yahoo accounts. Even though all this exists, we all know about it. But when it comes to cloud, we have a point. That's my point. But we'll discuss over it. We have a power breakfast today, we'll definitely discuss over it. Now, what ESDS has to offer? What's public network? What's public network? You connect through the public network, you connect through internet. Certainly there's a data center somewhere providing you cloud computing resources, and they have a storage. There's a public storage which is shared for many clients. What's a private cloud? Private cloud will have a dedicated maybe MPLS network. Again, the resources can still be shared. What cannot be shared, of course, is your private storage, which is more important. The data is more important. But the computing resources can still be shared, right? RAM, CPU, that can still be shared. That's a private cloud. Now, all said and done on the cloud, what are the uses? Where can cloud be used? I came up with something which I have been I've been trying to find this, but I have not found much on disaster recovery. I was going through a Gartner report, and the report says that not more than 15% of small and medium business owners have a business continuity plan. And that's across the world, I'm saying. Now in 2001, I was working for Pfizer in New York, and I was on 42nd Street. And these twin towers fell literally in front of me around 9 a.m. The whole world was shocked, and I was scared. There was no doubt about it, because I saw it falling in front of my eyes. But the more I thought about it, everybody was thinking on one direction, that how can this happen, that somebody can attack America? How can this attack happen? It's unbelievable. And I was thinking the other day, how can this happen, that all the financial world was residing in that tower, and they were all online within next couple of hours, and the world's financial center was operating. Citibank was operating, MetLife was operating, Ernst & Young was operating. That was also unbelievable for me. But it happened. Why? Because they had disaster recovery set up. Okay? Now, so what's the problem? Why don't other organizations, if it is so necessary, why only 15%? Is the reason high cost? Yes. Because for DR you need a similar structure, so you have to replicate your data center. Is it infrastructure management? Of course. Is it data security? Yes. And is there a trusted service provider? Now, what's a traditional DR? A traditional DR used to be, you have a data center. So let's say you have a data center with some servers having 24 CPU count and 32 GB RAM, for which you are paying 70,000 a month, a dedicated server. So you have to replicate that same server in a disaster recovery center somewhere, and you would be paying 70,000 plus 70,000, that's 1,40,000. So why keep that 70,000? Anyway, disaster doesn't happen. It has not happened in last 5 years in Nasik, so it's not going to happen. So that's a sense we keep. That's again a sense of security. This is how DR used to work. Now what does Enlight provide you? So if I put my DR on cloud, will it help? Is that a better model? Now let's see. You buy a DR with 2 GB of RAM. You start with 4 GB of RAM and 2 CPUs. That's all you need. What you are doing in DR is just replicating the data, right? So all you are using maximum is bandwidth. RAM and CPU is not used much. So you're not doing any processing on it. You're just keeping the data. So in cloud, you will only pay more for bandwidth, not for the RAM and CPU, and only for the amount of RAM and CPU you're using, not like a dedicated server, 70,000 per month. And a continuous DR is going on. You will be maybe billed 28,000 a month. That's 40% of what, if you had a dedicated DR, so that's one of the costs. And because of that, people try to avoid it. Why go for a DR which might not ever happen? How does Enlight DR work? There's a main data center. There's continuous sync between DC and our Enlight, which starts with 2 CPUs and 4 GB of RAM. Users are using your main data center, correct? Some catastrophe happens, main data center goes down, the sync stops. What do? The user is transferred to Enlight Cloud, where you have your DR. The servers start scaling up, your virtual machines start automatically scaling up based on the load. You didn't have to ask for any allocation. Now for that 1 month or something, maybe you had to pay 70,000 because you were using our resources. What happens after 3 days, 4 days or a month? Your main data center comes up. The data is replicated back to your main data center. Users again shift back to your main data center. The virtual machine scale down, and again you start paying only 20,000 or 28,000 for the bandwidth. That's really what Hi Nitin.
What is said here is also for the data recovery and database. It is not a case. You will still have that application which is running outside the same data. How are we going to take care of application?
No, in disaster recovery, even if your application part is installed there, when will that you will pay for the CPU and RAM only when your users get transferred to that application on that server. Your CPU will be used because processing power will be used and RAM will be used. Till then, the application is running, no users are going there. So you are only paying for the storage part of that application.
What you are for the required. The same thing has to be replicated in the application database and
Yes.
You do automatically once it comes.
Yes. It is all transparent.
And it applicable to application part, right?
Yeah, it is applicable to everything, data, application, middleware and frontware. Now this next 10 minutes, I would like to invite Mr. Anil Chandalia, who is the head of our NOC. We are doing a proof of concept for Magenco as cross-platform DR, because most of these things like SAP and all, they are dependent on hardware, they are hardware specific. So how can the disaster recovery be in some other platform? So there is a solution ESDS has come up with where DR can be on a separate box, on a totally separate model. So if you have your, let's say DC, it's on Intel, you can have this on Xeon, totally different CPUs. So Anil, I would like Anil to take forward this agenda, and maybe in next 10 minutes you will have a great journey through cross-platform disaster recovery.